This is how you maintain and grow a healthy type 4 hair. Type 4 hair is a very unique hair and very special. You would agree with me that it needs some extra TLC, which is tender loving care, to keep it, looking fresh, looking nice, looking healthy, and growing longer. But even if you don't have a type 4 hair and you're watching this video, do make sure you stick to the end of this video, because you might find some useful information that will help you in your own hair care journey. Now let's jump right into it. Tip number 1, don't over detangle your hair. If you want to maintain a healthy type 4 hair, you don't need to over detangle it, because I get this impression that a lot of people think they can remove all the tangles and all the knots from their type 4 hair. You can't get the knot and the tangle completely 100% out of your hair. The reason why you're detangling your hair is to just reduce the number of knots, the number of tangles, to make sure you get them out, so that when you're handling your hair don't break. So that is a good reason. But if your reason is just to use the brush, you're thinking that you're going to take out all the knots and all the tangles, sis, you can't completely take that out. Because of the nature of our hair, each time you comb your hair and you let it out, there's every tendency that it shrinks back up almost immediately, unless you're putting your hair in a kind of protective style that keeps it in place, keeps it together. That is when you say, okay, you've done a good job. As soon as that hair is exposed, it's going to shrink back up, and that shrinkage is what makes your hair to intertwine together and then start forming tangles. So you can never detangle your hair 100%. So one tip I would like to say is that if you want to keep your hair stretched and detangled, you're putting your hair in some form of protective style. So after detangling your hair, you don't leave it alone. You put it in some maybe big twists or big braids. If you're not ready to style your hair, that is the only way that hair can stay stretched and not shrink up and form tangles. Tip number 2, have a remoisturization routine. Now, I didn't say moisturization, I say remoisturization routine. A lot of the times after washing our hair, styling, moisturizing, and that is it for some people, that is not also all completely good. So the idea of remoisturization is making sure that in between your wash days, you're able to come back into your hair, try to make sure that your hair is hydrated, is moisturized. If you want to keep a healthy type 4 hair, please try to remoisturize your hair. There are people who have been able to master their moisturization routine, and it's been able to help their hair to retain moisture for a longer period of time. That's cool. Honestly, that's very good. But if you're not in that space, your hair is always dry in between your wash days, just try to touch your hair up a bit by remoisturizing your hair. Tip number 3, and this is for those people who love to do a daily hairstyle. What I mean daily hairstyle, like they love to wear their hair out. That's fine. That's somebody's lifestyle. That's what they love to do. So, and I'm not against it. So one way you can still make your hair to thrive even while doing those daily styles is to make sure you have a nighttime routine. And what I mean by a nighttime routine is that when you get back home or after the day before going to bed, you want to kind of put them in some protective style, just for the night, and you have to remoisturize them and then tie your hair up with a scarf. I prefer scarves than bonnets these days, because with bonnets, I think there's still a little bit of movement, between your hair strands, because bonnets are kind of free. But with scarves, I think you have control over how firm it is, so you keep your hair in place. There's no movement, there's no friction. That's why I prefer scarves to bonnets these days. So I use more of scarves now. I don't use bonnets. If you wear your hair out a lot before going to bed, try to remoisturize, because your hair, of course, has been exposed to the weather elements. They've been exposed to the sun, which are factors that contribute to damaging our hair strands. So you want to make sure at night before going to bed, you're giving your hair some form of TLC, and putting them in some form of big braids or twists, and then cover up with a scarf or a bonnet if you choose to. The next day you're free to style your hair again. So that is for those people who have that kind of lifestyle. But for me, my hair is pretty much in a long-term protective style, so I don't need a nighttime routine. The only nighttime routine I do is my remoisturization routine, which is not every day, it's just every like 3 days max. Tip number 4, scalp care. So for your hair to thrive, for your hair to be healthy and grow as long as you want it to, you have to maintain a healthy scalp routine. Now, your scalp needs to be healthy for you to even think about a healthy growth. A healthy hair growth comes from a healthy scalp. So make sure that your scalp is in good shape. Like, one thing that I've noticed that a lot of people go through is dandruff. Dandruff is not a good thing. I've experienced it in the past. One way I was able to combat that was to find out the reason, the cause, and what I could do to end it. So I made a lot of research. I tried to watch my scalp and see, when do I always feel this dandruff? My scalp was itchy a lot. So what I now discovered was that I used to use my hair butter on my scalp, and even when I'm deep conditioning my hair, the deep conditioner, I apply it to my scalp. But then I discovered that I tried to deep condition without applying it to my scalp, and then I tried to style my hair without using my hair butter, and I felt relieved, and I was like, wow, so this is the reason. So I stopped completely deep conditioning my scalp. I know there are people who deep condition their scalp. It doesn't work for me. So right now, nothing goes on my scalp except water and oils. And the only thing that will make that oil, soothing for me is to add peppermint oil. So I can't even apply my oils without using peppermint oil, because it has a way of soothing my scalp, kind of. So I use that a lot. So by all means, find out what is the cause, because you have to know the cause before you now know the solution. And it takes you understanding your hair, paying attention to your hair, paying attention to your scalp in this case, so that you can be able to know the solution to that. So apart from when it's a medical related condition, of course, that will mean you going to see your healthcare provider to know what is going on underneath your scalp. So for all these tips to work for you, you have to be consistent, you have to be patient. It's not going to happen in one day, in 1 month. The problem a lot of people have is that they just find that this works and they jump on it, and they are not able to be consistent with it, and at the end of the day, they don't get the results that they're looking for. By all means, please try to be consistent with what you feel you're using or you're doing that will help your hair to thrive. If you're consistent and you're patient, you've already known that this is not going to work overnight, then you have to be patient with yourself. So this is all the tips I have for you. If you have more, maybe something that I failed to mention or you think will be a good addition, drop it in the comment section below. And don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye bye.